Hello, everyone. My name is Liz, or Teacher Liz, as some of my students call me, or even Sabi. Personally, I prefer to be called Sabi, but yeah, you can call me Teacher Liz. All right, and this video is about how to plan for your 2025 English learning journey. I hope these tips will be very helpful. And please note, I based these tips on my close to 3 years of experience in teaching English. It'll be 3 years in March, 2025. So, yeah, I'm just sharing what I've learned in the process of me teaching. So, here we go. These are the tips. So, like many things that we start, we need to know what our North Star is. A North Star is a goal. What is your goal? What are you trying to achieve by improving your English level? I think it's super, super imperative that you know the answer to that so that you can plan your journey accordingly. Second of all, what are your strengths and weaknesses in the language? Um, I'll give an example of some of my students. I've noticed that my students who are incredible at grammar, writing, reading English texts, and also listening to English content, they are really, really good in that aspect. But when it comes to speaking, they struggle due to a lack of practice. So, um, that's just one example of what strengths and weaknesses could be. There are different types of strengths and weaknesses in English, so it's important to know what yours are so that you can plan accordingly. Okay, on to the third point. Um, Ask yourself, what kind of English content are you currently consuming? Are you watching movies in English? Are you reading English books? Are you playing online games in English? Um, do you text in English? How are you using English currently in your life? That can also help you see where you can improve in consuming a lot of English content, because a lot of times um, students who want to improve their English level don't have any, um, they don't consume a lot of English content in most cases. Before they start their English learning journey, they don't consume any content at all. So it's important to ask yourself, what am I doing currently in English? So on to the fourth point. It's important to know whether you really need English classes. Is it a need? Can you maintain having classes um, in a certain period, or um, is it really going to assist you in any way? That question needs to be answered as well. Um, And after answering that question, or even before answering that question, actually, will you be able to schedule enough time to immerse yourself in the language? So, when we say immerse yourself in the language, we mean um, going into the language. That's by reading, studying, interacting with English speakers. Do you have the time to do that? Because I know life can get very busy and we find ourselves being um, so pressured by our obligations that we don't even make time for other things. So it's important to know whether you can schedule time to immerse yourself in the language. And also, for those who do want to take English classes, um, how much will you be able to spend on taking those classes? That's also a very important question to answer, because um, while we live in a very trying time, or rather, um, not everyone's finances are the same. Some can afford um, a high number of English classes, and some can only afford a few. English classes at a time. So it's important to know how much you're able to afford in terms of taking classes. Okay, I said a mouthful, so now let's talk about the plan. What is the plan? What are you going to do after you answer these questions? So, this is the plan. Start by taking a placement test to see where your level is. You can take a standardized one, which can be easily found on the internet, or alternatively, this can be done through an English teacher who can identify your problem areas from your interaction with the teacher and also from the standardized English test that you take, the standardized placement test, I mean. So that's point number one. Point two of the plan, after you know what level you're on, you can plan to study the language or consume the language in such a way that it can help you reach your goal. So, again, to the goal, the North Star. What is your North Star? The placement test will give you a picture of what you need to focus on, which gets you closer to your North Star. Okay, let's go to the third point. Practice always makes perfect. Practice is important. It's imperative. Without practice, we wouldn't have many great professionals in the world. They got to that level of professionalism through constant practice of what they work in. So, if you live in a non English speaking country or you rarely have interactions in English, it is crucial to be in contact with English as much as possible. And you can do this by consuming English content, such as watching movies in English, reading English books, writing in English, texting in English, um, scrolling through social media in English. There's so many ways that you can immerse yourself in the language. Um, and for those whose English level is upper intermediate or advanced, you can consider changing the language settings on your phone to English just so you can remain immersed within the language. And on to the last point of the plan, um, which is connected to practice makes perfect. You need to interact with other English speakers. That is a must. Practice makes perfect. You need to either speak to English speakers on conversation exchange forums such as Tandem or Conversation Exchange, which is the same thing as, but yes, you need to have interactions in English. Alternatively, you can have these interactions through an English teacher or a conversation partner. Um, and it's also imperative to have conversations with different people. That really helps. So it could be your teacher and your English speaking friend and your other English speaking coworker or friend, etc. As long as there's some form of practice of the language, you're good to go. And most importantly, have fun. Please have fun. Enjoy the journey. You will learn so much about yourself, so much about different cultures through this journey that you decided to take. So have fun, have fun. And lastly, I just wanted to share some tips, not tips, clips. These are clips. I just wanted to share some clips of me teaching in class with some of my beloved students, some of whom have been with me for almost 3 years now. Um, most of them, excuse me, some of them on this picture have been with me for 2 years, approaching three. Some have been with me for over a year and approaching two, and so forth. So I'm super, super grateful to all of them for the opportunity they've given me. And yeah, the journey continues. And I hope that this video will help as many um, students as possible. This is for you. And yeah, have a good one. Good luck. Bye. Bye.